Hey, everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. SonicWeb Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and Minamus. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music, and coming soon to HamiltonRadio.net every Thursday night, 9 Eastern. And also, check us on other networks coming soon as well. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also cool merchandise like T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. Also support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com at the Mike Wagner Show, and make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific lady who is a classical rock violinist, born in London, now living in New York City, and she's toured with her own band and the creative string trio Trilogy. We'll be talking about that. She began her solo career at the age of 14 at the Royal Albert Hall in London and played twice before 30,000 people at the opening of Vienna Fest, and also play with a touring band to 53 concert halls in China and has toured the world. We'll talk about that. She also collaborated with amazing artists like Bobby McFerrin, Hans Zimmer, and Tony Award-winning director Tom Morris. She also has her own foundation. She also released 9 albums and 2 on the BMG RCA Victor label, including Key to the Classics, The Healer Within, and more. And we'll be talking about a new project that's coming next month to the Paramount Hudson Valley Theater, Irradiance. We'll talk about it just in 1 minute. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown New York City, the amazing multi-talented classical rock violinist, born in London, now living in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, the very multi-talented Daisy Jopling. Daisy, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Just great to be here. Thank you so much, Mike.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too. You're a classical rock violinist. You were born in London. Now you're living in beautiful New York City. You toured with your own band, and you were with the creative string trio called Trilogy. And you began a solo career at 14 years old at the Royal Albert Hall in London. You played twice before 30,000 people at the opening of Vienna Fest. You played with a touring band to 53 concert halls in China. You tour the world, and you also collaborate with Bobby McFerrin, Hans Zimmer, 20 award-winning director Tom Morris. You also have your own foundation. We'll talk about that. You also recorded 9 albums as well, too, like Key to Classics, The Healer Within, Awakening, Who's Who, and a lot more. And we'll be talking about your new project, Irradiance, at the Paramount Hudson Valley Theater coming up next month, and a nice story behind that. And before we talk about that, Daisy, tell us how you first got started.
What was your last question? Sorry.
Tell us how you first got started.
You know, it's a beautiful story because one of my favorite aunts, she's also my godmother, Louise, is my middle name. She was a professional violinist.
Wow.
And an amazing teacher. And apparently, I actually don't remember this, but when I was 3 years old, apparently I said to my mum every day, "Mum, I want to play the violin like Auntie Louise."
Nice.
So she was my great mentor. So finally, my mum, apparently, she got me literally like, I don't know, a tissue box, and put some rubber bands around it. And I was, trying to drum away at the thing. Anyway, she felt like I'm serious. So my mom and my dad were incredibly supportive, got me a violin teacher at the tender age of 3 at a violin like,
Wow.
this big. And my aunt, she was fantastic at organizing music camps. And in England, a camp is where you actually camp in a tent in maybe
Oh my
somebody's
goodness.
garden.
Wow. That's a new
So
idea for that. I love it.
so fun. So we had about 20 kids and we would move from house to house. Whoever had a backyard could fit like 5 tents in it. And she organized these music camps that was so much fun. Everything was a game. Like if she wanted to teach us to learn how to read the music notes, we would have like a treasure hunt where you've got to try and find this note and you've got to find that note. And everything was creative and improvised and just so much fun to play the music that she chose for us when we played in the group together. I mean, I remember being 5 years old and thinking, this is the best thing I've ever done, playing along with all these other really fantastic musicians who are much older than me. I was like, this is incredible. Like I play by myself and it's kind of okay, but like when everybody plays together, I'm like, this is killing. So she kept me going.
Mm.
Apparently I didn't so much want to practice. So, every day I was like, Mom, I can't practice today because I got so much homework. She'd be like, oh, what a pity. So you can't go back to that camp in the next holiday, and the next vacation. I'm like,
Get your play
really?
that violin, then your homework. She's got reverse, which end up being good for you.
So yeah, my aunt's been my lifelong mentor.
Oh, that's so amazing. And what was it one precise moment in your life that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career? Was that one moment that simply said, this is what I'm gonna do?
There was a one moment. I was already at the Royal College of Music, but I'd got in when I was quite young. I was 17 years old. I had gone there partly because I really wanted to go and live in London. I was brought up really in the countryside, and I was like, yeah, let's go to London. It's going to be fun. And I also had to once I was able to get in early with like this scholarship to this music college, I didn't have to finish my school, and so I didn't have to do all those exams, which I didn't like. So I'm like, oh, let's do this. Let's go to London. I was just having the time of my life. And after being in that music college, it was a 3-year course that I'd signed up for, and I'd done 2 years. And I was in my final year, and my brother came to live in the same apartment as I was living in London. And he saw that I was not really practicing, and I was into quite a lot of stuff. I was doing courses in ecology, no, sorry, in economics, in philosophy, in massage, in cooking. I don't know, but I wasn't practicing very much. And my brother sat me down. He doesn't remember it, but he sat me down and said, you're getting quite near the end of your course. If you really want to become a professional musician, you better start practicing right now. And if you don't, you better start doing something else, seriously. And I was like, maybe he's right. And I really thought about it. And it was like I'd always been good, and I'd always had, I never really thought, though, I definitely want to become a professional musician. It always just seemed like the easy thing next. I don't know. And I thought, okay, I'll really meditate on it for 3 days. And I decided I'm going to become a professional musician. And then I decided I needed the best teacher in the whole music college. So I went up to him and told him I want to learn with him. And he's like, I haven't got time. And I'm like, no, I want to learn with you. He allowed me to play for him. And, he was like quite impressed. He said, well, you've got real talent and real potential, but we need to change your technique. I had to start again. I had to play only open strings. So for 6 months, I had to re-change the way I was, the technique I was playing the violin with. And I was basically in the orchestra in the music college. I was sitting kind of, I guess, on the last place, and then there came 6 months later the auditions every year. So I decided to stay on another year. And anyway, I got a call after the auditions, and they said, you've been made the leader of the orchestra. In other words, you've gone from the last to the kind of top one. And I was like, no, it's the wrong person. They were like, we're quite surprised as well. You really, so it just, it just shows that you want to do something, you got a will, you dedicate yourself. I love the way Einstein always says it's 5% talent and 95% dedication and perseverance. And I'm like, 1000%, I agree with that.
Mm. I think Einstein's becoming more relevant these days as well too, and I think that's really interesting and how you apply that. And also too, when I was thinking about you talk about your love for the violin and everything, who are some of your favorite violinists, and also who are some of your favorite classical composers and artists, musicians, and singers growing up?
Wow. So there was a moment when I was 12 years old when I heard my first professional violin concert, and it was with a violinist in England. He's a big name in England and kind of worldwide. I don't know about so much here. He's called Nigel Kennedy.
Nigel
Um,
Kennedy. Okay, I'm trying to
oh,
think. It's like he might be in regional areas. I think around the New York, DC area. That's as far as I know. His name comes up in little bits here and there, I think.
he was a massive star in England at that time. He was also a violinist who, even though the concert I heard him play was playing a classical piece of music, when he'd finished it, he did an encore, which was a jazz piece. And
Wow.
now we're talking many years ago, when I was a kid, he came out on stage looking like a rocker. Like this was unheard of for a classical musician who always wore, like the tuxedo or some like, nice sharp thing. And he was like just a rocker, like torn jeans and I can't remember what else, but I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. And he had like spiky hair and and but he was and I just happened to sit like, as you me and my dad, we arrived and the concert was just starting and they were like, oh, there's a place at the front, like in front of the actual, Nigel Kennedy, right in front of him. Like I was in the front row, like a few feet away from him, and I was just glued the whole time. And yeah, he's definitely he'll always be in my heart, one of my favorite. And I actually went to see him after the concert, and you can imagine there's like a massive group of people coming to see him, and he sees this little kid at the back, and he's like, "Hey, come here to the front." So I kind of
That
was
was
really
nice of
shy, and
him.
I came out with my dad, and my dad's like, "So if you had to say just something to a child, who's learning the violin to inspire them, what would you say?" And Nigel Kennedy went, "Practice, practice, practice." And I started practicing after that. And then, Christ, I have so many favorite violinists, but there, I am really into like, violinists who have like really broken the mold. I mean, Didier Lockwood is a French jazz violinist, out of this world incredible. Gilles Apap is also actually interestingly kind of two French violinists, jazz, gypsy violin. He plays a lot, like out of this world incredible. Definitely Jean-Luc Ponty. There's
Oh, he's
honestly, I'm
my
a fan
favorite.
of
I was going to mention that Jean-Luc Ponty, Inamac Ocean. Guy's amazing.
amazing and still playing amazingly. I saw him on tour maybe 2, 3 years ago, but like, oh my God. Yeah, I honestly have like a million favorite violinists. Yeah, like 100 names come to mind, but so, and then as far as composers, definitely I go through different phases of things, but I was always really in love. If you want to take a classical composer with Brahms, it's just something about, I mean, I pretty much, because I don't really play classical music so much now. If I hear pretty much anything, I start to cry because it's from my childhood. Brahms is just nothing like it. And then you said singers.
Yeah,
My God, I
singers,
mean,
artists, and everything else,
yeah,
and
well,
musicians too.
a million artists. I mean, honestly, like right now, because I'm doing these concerts at the pyramids coming up. I've got 3 concerts in Egypt at the pyramids, so it's like I've got this whole love going on with Egyptian music. And there's a singer I can't like. I'm so in love with her, Angam, Angham. So it's probably not one that you know, but so Egyptian music. But I'm madly into like Brazilian Marissa Monte, one of my favorite artists ever. I'm madly into. There's a British artist, Joanna Wallfish, who one of my favorite artists in the world. And actually, there's Ivory Coast, a West African musician called Ava Sita, who's like up and coming. Totally crazy about her. I listen to her. Well, I used to listen every day. It depends. I'm into Egyptian right now, but you know,
Oh
and
my
Cuban
God.
musicians and Youssou N'Dour. I'm into ton of West African musicians as well, Senegalese. You know, always
Wow.
something new to
I,
learn about.
I'm gonna have to start looking this up after this. I mean, you really got me interested. We'll talk more about your amazing violinist career as well too. And one of the albums I did get to listen just a bit. One of my favorites. We'll talk about that along with your upcoming show. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, over 30 podcast platforms, and coming soon to hamiltonradio.net every Thursday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and other networks to come. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Mosensia for great books, merchandise, and more. Also support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com with the Mike Wagner Show, and make sure you do so today. We're here with the amazing classic rock violinist, born in London, now New York City, Daisy Jopling, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And you began your solo career at 14 in the Royal Albert Hall in London. And you can just tell us about that. I mean, 14 years old, it's like, I would be scared to play at the Royal Albert.
You know what was amazing though? That hall, I think that because so many great artists have played there, that has such an energy and such a vibe. So I remember for a week before the show, I was like nearly sick with nerves. I was so nervous. But you know, when I was backstage and then walking onto the stage and just being out there, you know, you got 7,000 people, it was sold out. I felt like I'm having the time of my life. You know, the music started and it felt like it went like this. And that was maybe one of the really pivotal moments when I realized I love performing, you know. I love being out there and connecting to the spirit of the music and just letting it flow through me. And yeah, just, you know, connecting with the audience and that. In that place where there are no problems, you know. Yeah.
It seems like there's never problems, but then you also moved up as well too. You played twice before 30,000 at the opening of Vienna Fest, and you play with a touring band, do 53 concert halls in China and more. So it's like, that is a heck of a feat.
Yeah. So the Vienna Festival was that was totally amazing as well. I was really nervous for that as well. But like, it's worth it for the feeling you feel afterwards when you come off the stage. Well, actually, I was playing first of all solo, and then I was also playing with the string trio that I had, Triology, that you mentioned in Vienna. And you just walk on stage and the sound from the audience is like, oh my God, and you haven't even played a note yet. But anyway, so I really enjoyed that. And I remember afterwards just feeling so high. And yeah, and then so I did this group with Triology. We were signed to BMG, and we actually lived in Vienna, Austria, for 13 years.
Wow!
And created our own music and did tons of touring around the world. And then started getting a lot of work in New York City. And I actually live north of New York City now. I live in Westchester. It's a beautiful day. I'm in the countryside. I got the woods and the river all around me. It's gorgeous. But yeah, then I started my own band. And with my own band, we've done 2 quite big tours to China, which have been amazing. So in China, I haven't been since the whole pandemic, but we went in 2019 last time, and we played in 30 different cities, like each one's, you know, 5 to 20 million people big kind of thing. And they're all building these absolutely state-of-the-art concert halls with acoustics like Carnegie Hall. I mean, amazing acoustics. And yet they also have like great lighting, you know, they're big theaters. I mean, they're amazing. Each one looks on the outside like some kind of crazy spaceship, you know. but they sound great, and like the audience was oh God, they just love the violin. So it was such a fantastic experience touring there, and I really want to go back. So
And
Yeah.
what was your favorite city and concert hall in China? You played in 53 concert halls. Which one was your favorite in what city?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Dalian. Christ, honestly, I tried to learn Chinese. It was quite difficult. Dalian, it's good pronounce it, something like that. Um, so honestly, there were so many amazing ones. Dalian had it was, if I remember it rightly, I hope I'm remembering it rightly. It had like beautiful red plush seats, and it had at the same time as being a probably 1,500 seats theater, so not like massive, but but it felt intimate, and the sound was amazing, and the audience, because there were different, some nights was just crazy reaction from the audience. And we always had a great reaction, and we always had like either a full or sold out house. But that particular audience, and we were treated afterwards to this like crazy amazing meal. And Dalian was also a very beautiful place. I hope I'm remembering, because honestly we went to so many cities, and you have to try and pronounce all of them. But I think it's more towards the south, which is really beautiful. China, I mean, China spans this massively variation, in temperature, geographical area, from Siberia right down to Hong Kong, which is totally tropical. And Dalian, as I say, I can look on the map after this interview, but I think it's more like towards the south. The weather's beautiful, people are amazing, and I just have to pick that one out. Dahlian, Dalian, I think is how you spell it,
Mhm.
something like that.
And we'll certainly remember that as well too. You also will collaborate with some amazing people like Bobby McFerrin, Hans Zimmer, and 20 War winning director Tom Morris. What was it like working with those guys? And who's your favorite to work with and why?
Oh my God, I have stories from all of them. So Bobby
Absolutely, have
McFerrin,
at it.
yeah.
Have
Oh
at
my
it. I've
God. So
got
Bobby
time.
McFerrin, we I was playing with him with my string trio, and so funny. So at that point, even though we all improvised a little bit, especially the cellist was like, look, we're not jazz musicians. He's like this phenomenal improviser, phenomenal jazz musician. We've got to tell him that, we're so the cellist like took his songs and wrote specific arrangements. So we have to tell him that we're going to play like this arrangement of this song of his. I mean, we did some of our own stuff, we did some improvisation with him, but we kind of did our arrangements of his songs. So he was like, oh, okay, no problem. So we went on stage, and we had like, I think 3 of his songs, and a couple of them went great. And then it got to the third one or something like this. And, he had done this particular song in a lot of different types of arrangements, the form totally changing. Probably when his chick career, he's like going off, I don't know where. So he started going off in this whole other part of the song, which we didn't have in our charts.
Oh,
This
what a
whole other
challenge.
part. And we're playing sold out house, big festival TV. It was maybe like 1,500 people, not like maybe a couple thousand. It wasn't like a massive place, but it was like, big thing for us in this big festival. And at that moment, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It was the kind of feeling where I just need a hole in the stage. I need to disappear right now. Like, what am I going to do? He's singing this part. My chart says this. I don't know what to do. I'm looking at Alexei, the other guys, Alexei and Tristan, and we're all like, oh my God. And he, all this happens within a split second. And then, of course, he immediately realizes we're playing on this other place. And he turns around to us, and he thinks it's so funny that he gets the giggles on stage, and we have to wait for him to stop laughing, and then he's like, let's go from here to the end. And I always was like, Christ, the same thing happened to him and happened to me. I'm thinking I want to pretty much be like, die, have a hole in the floor and disappear. He's thinking it's hilarious. And it just shows me that everything is a matter of perspective. And if you're an audience member and you're watching a performer, I mean, we're real, right? We're human. We make mistakes. And they think it's funny. Guess what? You're probably going to think it's funny as well.
Mhm.
And it just was like, I haven't been able to do it, but I was like, I got to take that attitude and pretty much laugh at all the things in my life that might seem like tragedy, because probably they're fine. I mean, I'm not talking about things like, maybe somebody dying or something. I'm just talking about those things where we really beat ourselves up because we think we've made a big mistake. And how many times do like mistakes turn into the greatest discovery, or like, you
Oh,
know what I mean?
yes. There's a lot of them too. I mean, we can go hours about that, not
On and
just
on,
music and other things.
on and on. So that was that story. And then the story, Hans Zimmer, this is a great story as well. Hans Zimmer, unbelievable creative genius. Now, when I first met him, though, and I'm like opening up to kind of like, stuff which I have to admit about myself, I'm coming from Vienna, Austria, from a school of everything's about the craft. Everything, is about the way that use your knowledge of the rules of harmony. It's about the skill of writing music.
Hmm.
And so that's really the tradition. It's like this incredible skill that all these composers coming from Vienna and that tradition had. So then I arrive in Los Angeles. I'm working with my trio and Hans Zimmer, and we meet him, and he's right up front. He's like, I know, you come from Vienna, I know your tradition. Listen, I can write in about 2 chords. I can't really play the piano. This is about as much as I can do. I just write in a couple of keys, and I got my composers and they do all the stuff. And he was minimizing himself, but when I really started to hear what he did, I thought, God. And I was kind of like judgmental about him.
Hmm.
And I mean, I knew he's amazing, but I found the whole thing was such a different world for me, and I did not really get it, the whole way he was doing everything. I mean, I appreciated it, and I was really grateful and honored to be there and doing this whole thing, and the experience was kind of incredible, but I was judgmental about it. And then guess what? Now I'm living in the US. I'm living, north of New York City, but in New York, and I have pretty much exactly what Hans Zimmer has. I'll write like the basic idea for a piece. I've got these amazing orchestrators. I've tried to learn it and I really can't learn. I mean, I'm not good at it. And I know people who are amazing at it. So I have to laugh at my own judgment of this, incredible genius, amazing composer, creative genius, and say, no, I'm not saying I'm as, brilliant as him, but I'm saying that all the things I kind of was judgmental about, that's exactly, I'm doing those things right now. So careful about how you criticize somebody else, because, you might end up doing it yourself.
And of course, it expands your world as well, too, and it kind of breaks your mold as well, too. With you being in New York City, you also worked with Tony Award winning director Tom Morris as well, too. I'm sure you had a good story about that. Speaking of Broadway.
Yeah, So Tom Morris, yes, Tony Award winning, but he's actually British. And he's a stunning director in London. Has worked here in New York as well, but lives in London and Bristol. Actually, I think he's just moved to London now. Anyway, basically lived in London, and so I did this whole project with him with Triology in London, where we were trying to see how, because when a musician plays, and I'm very people talk about it looks like the violin is part of me, so I'm all I'm doing is letting the music express me. Like I'm unaware of what's happening as far as like if I'm jumping around, but I jump around. Like I'm pretty expressive when I play. I don't know it, but I am. I just, because everybody tells me, and I can obviously see the videos. So Tom had this idea to see whether he could create a show where those actual movement, those gestures could be turned into something more theatrical than just musicians connecting with each other through and because of the music.
Mm-hmm.
And we really created this kind of amazing show and tried out a lot of things. But I'm trying to think. I was thinking, was there a story that I think the funniest story is that we were rehearsing together in a family home of mine. My dad was in love with Ireland, so we're in Ireland, and we're kind of by a beach in Ireland, and we're like rehearsing there. We have like a 2-week kind of workshop there where me and my trio and the director Tom are staying there together, like rehearsing every day and kind of workshopping this idea. And at one point, there's this, I think he's a guy who he knows us anyway somehow, and he's from I don't know, he somehow knows we're staying there, and he comes around and tells us there's a busking competition, like a street musician competition in
busking,
the village.
Yeah, I love that type. Busking singing, busking playing, busking this. It's like, oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah, so he's like, there's a competition in the nearby town. It's like a 15-minute, 10-minute drive away. Why don't you go and play some of your music in the competition? And we're like, let's do it. So we take our instruments. We've got 2 violins and a cello, and we're going down to this Irish town. There's all these other buskers who are all playing, Irish instruments, whatever they're, doing their Irish thing. And then there's us. But we know a few Irish tunes, so we play a few Irish tunes. And anyway, so we have a good time. We're playing outside and it's nice weather and we're having a nice break from all our rehearsing and everything, and we have a good time. Anyway, and then they get to the point where they're announcing the results. And it's called the Guinness International Kilorglin, which is the name of the town, busking competition, right?
Really?
So then, and there's this like, big platform in the middle of the town, and they go up on the stage at the top of this big platform, a high erected kind of platform, and this mayor of the town, whatever, goes upstairs, and announces that Triology has won the Guinness International Kilorglin busking competition. We're like, what? What? And then the prize was something like a whole case of Guinness. And like, I don't know if we got any money, but we got a lot of Guinness, I think. And then we went into an Irish pub and we jammed with this fantastic Irish band, and they played the spoons, and the stories went on all night. I mean, crazy stories, hilarious stories that I'll never forget. I mean,
Oh my
the
gosh.
Irish. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm ready to have a Guinness with you after this. It makes me want one right now.
I think I need a sip of my tea. That's true. I need a drink.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and I have a little something with you too, so we'll do that. And of course, talking music as well too. You also put out some your releases like Key to the Classics, The Healer Within, Awakening, but Bellissima. You also recorded 9 albums and more. And my favorite was, I got to listen before the show, was Who's Who, and I really like those. And tell us more about some of the albums and just overall what inspired you.
Wow. So every album, of course, is inspired by whatever I'm into at that time. And Who's Who, this is a great story because I was brought up outside London. My parents just had this idea that really the best music for developing a child's brain is Western classical music, is classical music. And they didn't really think that pop music was that good or rock music. So I didn't hear, there was no internet back then. Like, I didn't hear any other music. I did not know about the band The Who, and I'm in England.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally, I was going to school when I was a kid, and I just started like in like this. We have like the primary school and the secondary school. I just started in the secondary school, so I'm like a little kid, and there's a lot of kids older than me, and I'm very shy. I mean, I was already the leader of the orchestra, so I was kind of already like exceptional, whatever. But anyway, so I basically I'm just been like a month in the school or something, and then I had no television, so I never knew what's going on. And it was like, have you heard the news? And I was like, no, And then they said, well, John Lennon's been shot. And
Oh,
I didn't know who
it
John
was
Lennon.
that time. Wow. Oh my
I
God.
didn't know who John Lennon was. Like, I'm talking, I didn't know anything. So I didn't know the Who. So then I arrive here. I'm living, in New York City, and then I'm living north of New York City. It's a small town in northern Westchester. It's called Peekskill. And everybody's like, well, you got to play Baba O'Reilly from the Who. So I start checking out the Who. So years later, I'm like, oh my God, this music is out of this world, and the lyrics, and oh my God, Pete Townsend and the whole thing. And I just go crazy for this band. And not only that, it's like when I play it, it's so much fun to play. I've never actually played rock music. Actually, this director Tom always said, Daisy, when you play classical music, you sound like a rock musician, but somehow I'd never played rock music. So basically, I just really got into it. And then out of the blue, I got an email from this company in Mexico saying, we want to make an album with you. And I was going to Mexico on tour anyway, so I checked them out. They had a fantastic studio, and I ended up recording in Mexico a British band that I heard about in New York, and that's the whole album. And we just
Wow.
played like all these arrangements of the Who, and yeah.
I'm sure you probably got congrats from Pete Townsend, Roger Daltrey, and the likes as well. So, oh my gosh, I've been a Who fan for years, and I'll
Yeah.
share my story about John Lennon when he got shot. I was watching Monday Night Football when of course I think the Jets and I think the Patriots are playing, and Howard Cosell broke in. I guess the quarterback was about to get intercepted, throw an incomplete pass, and we just got word that John Lennon got shot, and he said in monotone voice like, "What?" During a football game? It's like, oh, unbelievable. And I thought somebody must have shot him by accident because either the Jets were playing poorly or New England was about to kick the crap out of them. So, yeah, it's just like, I went, John Lennon got shot, and said it during Monday Night Football. And we're like, huh? Yeah, unbelievable. Wow.
Still with us.
Exactly, you're right. And of course, you also had some other works, but we'll talk about your latest Irradiance in just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-wearing author Mia Molson-Zia of Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with the multi-talented classical rock violinist Daisy Jopling after this time out. We're back with classical rock violinist, the amazingly multi-talented Daisy Jopling here on the Mike Wagner Show, and talked about your amazing career, how you got started, some of the releases you had, working with some great artists. And you also got a brand new project that's in the works that's taking place next month in May, Irradiance at the Paramount Hudson Valley Theater, inspired by the sacred tunes of the Great Pyramids of Egypt. And tell us about Irradiance, and we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so it's May 22nd. For any of you who are in the New York area, it's going to be an incredible show. May 22nd, which is a Sunday at 3 p.m. And so since I've moved actually just north of New York City, I've been living 11 years now in Peekskill, which is a very artsy kind of town. And but there was no strings program here when I came, so I was asked by some local, parents, really, can you start a program where our children can learn the violin? And that's how my Music Mentorship Foundation started. So now, 11 years later, we've literally, we do three things. We send artists into schools to give performances, so kids, get to hear amazing artists that they'd never normally hear. We have free after-school programs. We have free online workshops or free, in-person workshops in creative songwriting and in beatboxing, different things. And we have a mentorship program where we have children who come and work with our professional mentors and perform with us. And we've actually served over 8,000 children in like that whole time, including all the concerts we've given to kids for free, including free tickets we've given to kids. So anyway, so this concert is going to be, they call it a side-by-side orchestra. So half the orchestra is a professional. It's from the local, amazing, highly professional orchestra 914, it's called. And those musician mentors are going to mentor students who come from all of the surrounding area. So a lot of the music it's really eclectic. It's, from reggae to jazz to funk to I guess you'd say kind of African drumming, nearly like pop classical. There's a lot. There's well, we do a Vivaldi with a reggae beat.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that
a lot
is
of fun.
something.
And yeah, so one of the pieces, so I have, had this whole thing with the pyramids recently. It was literally, I never thought of it. It was some of my team members, my lighting designer and a costume designer were like, Daisy, let's do something at the pyramids. And at the beginning, I was like, how the hell are we going to do that? But actually, I decided to go there. And I met an amazing producer out there. Now we're doing 3 concerts at the pyramids.
Wow.
I'll announce the dates when they're definitely fixed, but please keep an eye on my social media, Daisy Jopling, through all the social media, and my website, daisyjopling.com. We'll be announcing them, when everything's confirmed up, but June, September, and November are the targeted dates. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so if you go into the inner chambers of the pyramids, so there are certain tones that you can sing, and maybe like overtones that can really like kind of lights up the chambers of the pyramids. And I had started to like hear people talk about that experience. And then I met somebody who'd had that experience and took a video of this singing. And so I've taken these kind of tones, which are just simple overtones, and we're going to create with children's choirs around the audience. We're going to create some magic in the show. I don't want to give away too much, but I love to like in some kind of level, we know everything is energy, but also in some level people talk about the energy being literally like frequencies, like sound resonances, like everything vibrates at a certain frequency. So I have spent a lot of time at the pyramids recently, and I'm going there soon, and I'm just bringing this beautiful frequency.
It's interesting to talk about frequency. I've interviewed some guests on the show where they talk about frequency. What frequency were they talking? Are they talking about the 432, or what frequency is that?
So the videos, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've heard about that. I have amazing friend, Angelo Cherry, actually. He's going to have an album coming out soon. Violinist, check him out, Angelo Cherry. He plays always at 432. I noticed on these recordings that actually they were any tones, but they were just in certain. I felt like the way they were singing them, they were invoking. It wasn't exactly overtone singing, but it was kind of like that. They were invoking a lot of the overtones, and I mean, the notes they were singing were like G and kind of normal notes. And I haven't checked. I haven't checked like they were G, but was it like a low G? I'll check that out.
Hmm. Yes.
That could be interesting, actually.
Hmm. Yeah,
I'll
I
actually
know.
look.
I know you mentioned about frequency, and it just maybe came to mind the 432 and everything else as well too. So, where can we find Irradiance at and all your other works?
So, daisyjopling.com, daisyjoplingBand.com, it both goes to the same place. Um, Irradiance is happening. All the information's on my website and in all my social media. Please just follow me on social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the whole thing. Whatever you're into, I'm probably gonna, have something there. And yeah, the show's at the Paramount Hudson Valley Theater, which is in Peekskill, New York. And everything is like, giving these students this amazing opportunity. The concerts we play are like, people are like, that's the best concert I've ever heard. I mean, these are highly professional concerts, but they involve students, and we have a month mentorship for the students. And we have our free after school strings program children, they're going to perform. So it's an amazing mentorship concert, but it is going to be of the highest level and hopefully one of the best concerts you've ever been to.
And what about your foundation? How can people find out more about the foundation you also talked about as well?
DaisyJoplingFoundation.org. So Daisy Jopling is Daisy Jopling Foundation.org.
We certainly will do so. Once again, we're with
Thank you, Mike.
classical rock violinist Daisy Jopling here on the Mike Wagner Show. Daisy's just a few more minutes here. You've been totally amazing. What else can we expect from you in 2022 and beyond, Daisy?
I am going to spend a few months in Cairo. I'm going to make a lot of videos there in Egypt, actually, Alexandria and different places around Egypt. We're going to be releasing quite a lot of new music, one song a month this year, and making a totally new album next year. And I would just say, please stay connected to everything we're doing. I've got the most amazing band in the world. We're going to tour again in China and Mexico and different places. And we're looking to build up our fan base so we can really tour in the US as well.
We certainly are looking forward to it, Daisy, and you got amazing stuff out there. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career?
God, I feel like saying, I mean, Nigel Kennedy comes to mind because he was the first violinist that I knew about who really did break the classical mold, which I was also doing. Um, but yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, Gilberto Gil, like so many musicians, and I'm always exploring totally new music. Like I said, I'm totally into Arabic music right now, so I'll just be whatever phase I'm in. That music is influencing me.
And certainly do so as well too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Whoever you are is perfect.
Hmm.
And just follow every minute, every day, your inspiration. I do believe, like, on a really like spiritual level, the future of the human race depends on every single one of us. I don't think there's some determination out there. I think it's up to us. And I think it's up to us living our greatest dreams and living our inspiration and giving ourselves the joy of what we love doing the most. And when we
Hmm.
do that,
And you're
how can
certainly
we
doing
want to?
you're certainly doing a great job, Daisy. You're just amazing. Once again, classical rock violinist Daisy Jopling here on the Mike Wagner Show. Daisy, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase, check out your music, or check out Irradiance and the latest?
Absolutely. Mike, thank you so much for having me as well. And thank you all for listening. And yeah, daisyjopling.com, Daisy Jopling on all social media, May 22nd. 3 p.m. Paramount Hudson Valley Theater is Irradiance. And July 9th, we have another show in New York City at the Chelsea Table and Stage, which is an awesome, just opened up new, spanking new, beautiful venue. So check that out, July 9th, Chelsea Table and Stage. Tickets just went on sale for that. And just look forward to seeing you. We'll have films of all the concerts at the Pyramid. So check out these beautiful videos we're going to make.
We certainly will do. So once again, Daisy, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'll have you back. We wish you all the best. You've got a great future ahead of you.
Thank you, Mike.